Are you sure it's just aging? Has your loved one been forgetting things, snapping unexpectedly, or withdrawing from social life? Don't be too quick to dismiss it as normal aging, because sometimes those subtle signs are the first whispers of Alzheimer's. The scariest part isn't forgetting, it's forgetting who you are. Alzheimer's doesn't just steal memories, it erases pieces of a person. And the saddest part, the early signs are often ignored because they look just like what we expect from growing older. The sooner you see it, the more you can save. In this video, we'll uncover 5 warning signs that often get mistaken for normal aging, but could be early red flags of Alzheimer's. Don't wait until it's too late. Recognizing the truth today could help protect everything that matters tomorrow. Have you ever noticed a loved one becoming forgetful, confused, or acting in ways that feel different? Maybe your mom keeps asking the same question over and over, or your grandpa, once so sharp, suddenly forgets the names of people he's known for years. Most of us brush it off saying, well, that's just aging. But what if it's not? Here's the truth. While some memory lapses are normal as we age, there's a line, and crossing it might mean something more serious is happening beneath the surface. Alzheimer's disease doesn't show up overnight. It creeps in quietly, hiding behind symptoms that seem harmless at first. A missed appointment, a wrong turn home, a mood swing that seems out of character. That's why it's so easy to miss. But if we wait too long to recognize it, we risk losing precious time that could have been used to slow its progression. In this video, we'll walk through 5 of the most misunderstood signs that often get mistaken for just getting older, but could actually be early clues of Alzheimer's. Knowing them might change someone's life. 1. It's not just forgetfulness. It's memory loss in chunks. We all misplace our keys sometimes or forget where we parked the car. That's normal. It happens to young people too. But imagine this: your spouse looks you straight in the eyes and says, wait, did we go to Sarah's wedding even though the event was just 2 weeks ago and you have photos together in the living room? That's not typical forgetfulness. That's something deeper, and it could be one of the earliest signs of Alzheimer's. In Alzheimer's, memory loss doesn't come as small slips. It comes in missing chunks of your life. It's not just forgetting a name, it's forgetting entire events, conversations, or even routines that once came naturally. You might walk into the kitchen and completely forget why you're there, or look at the calendar and still not recall that yesterday was your grandson's birthday and you were there. Another red flag. Putting things in very odd places. Finding your TV remote in the freezer, your wallet in the bathroom sink. At first, these moments might seem quirky or even funny, but over time they become more frequent and frustrating. You start relying heavily on sticky notes, phone reminders, or telling family members to repeat things again and again. While using reminders can help anyone stay organized, when they become a crutch just to get through the day, it's a sign your brain is struggling to store and retrieve even basic information. And when memory loss starts to interrupt daily life, not just in moments, but in patterns, that's when you should pay attention. Friends or family might notice it before you do. Maybe you keep asking the same question over and over, unaware that it's the 3rd or 4th time. Or maybe your spouse quietly starts taking over tasks you used to handle with ease, managing bills, cooking, remembering appointments, because they see you're no longer as confident. The tricky part: many people with early-stage Alzheimer's know something feels off, but they're too afraid or ashamed to speak up. That silence can be dangerous. The earlier Alzheimer's is identified, the more options are available to slow its progress and preserve your independence for as long as possible. So if you notice that you or someone you love isn't just forgetting little things, but losing memories in chunks, don't dismiss it as just getting older. It might be your brain's quiet way of asking for help, and listening could make all the difference. 2. Trouble finding words. Writing clearly or navigating the world around you. And picture this. You've always been the one who told great stories at the dinner table. You used to write thoughtful birthday cards in perfect handwriting. You could find your way around your home with your eyes closed. But lately, something's changed. You pause mid-sentence, struggling to find the right word. You pick up a pen, but the words just don't come out the way they used to. Or maybe you walk into a room you've known for decades and suddenly forget which door leads to the bathroom. These aren't just senior moments. They could be the brain's early signs of trouble, specifically Alzheimer's. One of the first things Alzheimer's can affect is our ability to use language. People might begin to speak in vague terms like saying that thing for time, instead of watch, or calling the refrigerator that cold box. At first, it may seem like a joke or a mental hiccup, but over time the gaps in vocabulary widen. Sentences become fragmented. Writing once fluid and expressive turns choppy or hesitant. And worst of all, the person struggling often knows something's wrong but can't quite explain it. Even more confusing is how Alzheimer's can impact how we see and move through the world. Some people begin to misjudge distances or bump into furniture. Others get lost in places they know well, like taking a wrong turn in their own home or forgetting how to get to the grocery store they've been visiting for years. It's not that their eyesight is failing. Their brain is having trouble processing spatial awareness and orientation. Imagine how frightening that must feel, to know the words but not be able to speak them, to know the place but not recognize it. These moments don't just shake confidence, they erode a person's sense of self. Family members often chalk it up to just slowing down with age. But this kind of decline isn't normal aging. It's your brain signaling that the areas responsible for communication and spatial awareness are under stress. So what can you do? If you notice yourself or someone close to you struggling to follow a conversation, substituting strange words, forgetting common phrases, or getting disoriented in familiar spaces, don't ignore it. These changes could be subtle signs of Alzheimer's beginning to affect how the brain processes language and perception. Speaking with a doctor early can lead to better care, more clarity, and more time. Alzheimer's doesn't just steal memory, it changes the way people experience and interact with the world. Recognizing these changes early can help you or your loved ones stay engaged, supported, and prepared for what comes next. 3. When everyday decisions become a daily struggle. Think about someone you know who always had it together. Maybe it was your dad who managed the family budget down to the last cent, or your aunt who could plan a week's worth of meals without breaking a sweat. For years, they were the ones others turned to for answers, for guidance, for direction. But then something shifts. Suddenly, they can't decide what to eat for lunch. Grocery shopping turns into a confusing maze. Bills are left unpaid, or worse, paid twice. You find stacks of unopened letters, strange purchases on their credit card, or meals burnt because they forgot the stove was on. This kind of mental fog isn't just forgetfulness. It's a breakdown in decision-making, a deeper issue that often goes unnoticed until patterns start to emerge. Alzheimer's gradually damages the parts of the brain responsible for judgment, planning, and logic. And when those functions weaken, even the most basic tasks can feel overwhelming. You might hear them say, "I just don't know what to do more often." Or they'll start asking for help with things they once handled effortlessly, like following a recipe, navigating the ATM, or organizing a calendar. They may even begin dressing in strange combinations, wearing winter clothes in the summer, or forget how to make coffee despite doing it every morning for decades. It's not just about confusion, it's about losing confidence in one's ability to trust their own thoughts. What makes this especially hard is that the person may not even realize their judgment is slipping. To them, their choices feel normal. But to loved ones watching from the outside, it's clear something's not right. That's why it's important to pay attention to patterns, repeated errors, difficulty with basic decisions, or sudden behavior that seems completely out of character. You might witness a once patient person becoming impulsive, or someone cautious with money suddenly giving it away, falling for scams, or making large unnecessary purchases. It's heartbreaking to see, but it's also a sign that they're not in control the way they used to be. These aren't just bad days or moments of forgetfulness. They're warnings. If someone you love starts acting like a stranger in their own life, it's time to take that seriously. Early diagnosis can open doors to care, resources, and support that might help preserve quality of life. Because behind every confused decision is a person who still wants to feel capable, and we owe it to them to notice when something deeper may be going on. 4. Pulling away from friends, family, and the life they once loved. He used to light up every room he walked into. She never missed a birthday party, a Sunday church gathering, or a lunch date with old friends. They were the social ones, the storytellers, the laughers, the ones everyone looked forward to seeing. But now they're quiet. They cancel plans. They sit silently at family dinners, or worse, don't show up at all. At first, you might think they're just tired. Maybe they're overwhelmed or going through a rough patch. But if the pattern continues, if the invitations keep getting declined, The phone calls go unanswered and the sparkle in their eyes begins to fade. It's time to ask a deeper question. Could this be more than just withdrawal? In the early stages of Alzheimer's, many people begin retreating from social life. But not because they don't care. Quite the opposite, they're painfully aware that something is changing inside them. They might struggle to follow conversations or forget the names of even close friends. They're afraid of saying the wrong thing, of looking confused, of being exposed. So instead of facing the discomfort, they choose isolation. And that quiet withdrawal, so easily mistaken for moodiness or old age, can be one of the earliest and most subtle signs of cognitive decline. You might notice them skipping events they once loved. They may seem uninterested in hobbies they used to be passionate about. Or you'll hear them say, "I just don't feel like going more and more." What's really happening is a fear of not being able to keep up, of being found out as different, or even of becoming a burden. This emotional retreat doesn't just affect the individual, it sends ripples through the entire family. Spouses feel the growing distance. Children worry but don't know how to bring it up. Friends start to fade away, too unsure of how to reconnect. Worse, the more a person isolates, the faster Alzheimer's symptoms can worsen. Social interaction is like exercise for the brain. It keeps it flexible, stimulated, and alive. Without it, cognitive decline can accelerate and depression can set in, creating a painful cycle that's hard to break. But here's the good news: you can break it. By paying attention, by gently encouraging connection, by creating low-pressure, supportive environments where your loved one feels safe, not judged. Sometimes even small steps like a quiet walk, a one-on-one coffee chat, or looking through old photo albums can make a world of difference. If someone you love is slowly pulling away from the world, don't assume it's just old age. It might be their way of saying, "I'm struggling, but I don't know how to ask for help." And that's when they need you the most. 5. When personality shifts and emotions feel out of control. She was always the calm one, the one who soothed everyone else when tensions ran high. Or maybe he was the gentle jokester, easygoing, thoughtful, full of patience. But now something's changed. They snap over little things. They accuse loved ones of stealing. They get angry for no reason, or cry in the middle of a quiet afternoon seemingly out of nowhere. It's heartbreaking and confusing. One of the most overlooked yet deeply unsettling signs of early Alzheimer's is a sudden and unexplained change in mood or personality. You might notice your loved one becoming unusually irritable, anxious, suspicious, or even paranoid. They may lash out verbally or withdraw completely, shutting down in moments where they once thrived. At first, family members might think maybe they're just having a bad day. But when those days start stringing together, when the anger, fear, or sadness becomes a new pattern, it's time to consider something more. People with early-stage Alzheimer's often sense that something inside them isn't quite right. They may not be able to articulate it, but they feel the shift. That inner struggle between who they've always been and what they can no longer control can spark a storm of emotion. And because the disease affects the brain's ability to regulate behavior, these emotional reactions can seem extreme or out of place. You might see behaviors that shock you. A once kind grandmother using harsh or inappropriate language. A reserved uncle making bold, risky comments in public. Sometimes these moments pass quickly, almost as if they didn't happen. Other times they leave everyone in the room feeling stunned and unsure of what to say. The most painful part: the person experiencing these changes often feels just as lost. They might recognize their outbursts after the fact and feel shame, embarrassment, or confusion. Or they might not realize it at all, making the shifts feel even more unsettling for those around them. It's also common to see signs of depression, especially in the early stages. Losing interest in hobbies, refusing to get dressed, skipping meals, or sleeping too much can all be subtle cries for help. The emotional toll of slowly losing one's sense of self is enormous, and without support, it can spiral into isolation and hopelessness. But here's the truth: these changes aren't a reflection of who your loved one is. They're a symptom of what they're facing. And while you can't stop Alzheimer's, you can bring compassion, patience, and understanding into the equation. That alone can make an enormous difference. So if your kind, thoughtful, predictable loved one starts behaving in ways that feel unfamiliar, don't write it off as a bad phase. Trust your instincts. These shifts might be your earliest clue that something bigger is unfolding. Don't wait. Early action can change everything. Alzheimer's doesn't strike overnight. It whispers first through forgotten birthdays, missed appointments, unusual mood swings, or quiet withdrawals from the world. But if we're listening, truly listening, we can catch it early. A landmark study from Boston University published in The Lancet revealed something powerful. Nearly half of all dementia cases could be prevented by addressing certain risk factors early. Things like managing blood pressure, reducing alcohol intake, staying socially active, and maintaining healthy cholesterol levels, especially during midlife, can make a significant difference. That means we have more power than we think. But prevention and care aren't just responsibilities of the elderly. Alzheimer's affects entire families. It calls on children and spouses, neighbors, and communities to pay attention to the subtle shifts, to ask questions with love, to encourage medical checkups before things spiral, and most of all, to stand beside those facing memory loss with patience, compassion, and courage. If you or someone you care about is experiencing any of the signs we've discussed today, don't wait. The sooner Alzheimer's is detected, the more options there are to slow it down, improve quality of life, and protect precious memories. Your next step matters. Start with awareness. Continue with action. If this video helped you or reminded you of someone you love, please consider subscribing to our channel. We're building a space where families can learn, grow, and support one another through every stage of aging. Hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you won't miss our next video. 7 daily habits that help slow cognitive decline. After 60 full of simple science-backed tips to stay sharp and independent longer. You are not alone on this journey, and every video here is one more hand reaching out to walk with you.